What's up, everyone? So, um, I always thought advertising was weird, especially for certain companies. I know for the longest time, no one spent more on advertisement than Coca Cola. And I always found that funny because as I was growing up, I remember seeing that you had Pepsi households, you had Coke households. And it was like Hatfields and McCoys. You had a line you drew in the sand, and you were either a Pepsi family or you were a Coke family. And sometimes even within like extended families, you had um, some that were uh, like Pepsi families, sub families within like an overall Coke family kind of thing. And so I always found it funny that Coke always spent so much money to keep going. And then if you pay attention even farther, you start to realize that in about 80%, if not more, of restaurants, there's Coke products. Um, like a McDonald's is a Coke restaurant. Um, Rallies or Checkers is a Coke restaurant. And the only ones that are Pepsi restaurants are the ones that Pepsi actually is like running, if you will, like Taco Bell, KFC. And so I was going, well, why in the hell do you spend like billions with a B every freaking year when people are just going to get your stuff anyway? I mean, I was always one to where I don't like regular Coke, but I was okay with Diet Coke. And I like regular Pepsi, but I don't like Diet Pepsi. And that was just kind of how my whole dichotomy went. And for the longest time, we were a Pepsi home, but it was, you know, it was either regular Pepsi or it was Diet Coke. And I just always found it funny that, you have all these people that have their loyalties and they stick to them. So I'm going, who are you advertising to? Because I don't understand why you're doing all this advertising. Because it's literally a point where you have if you go to a restaurant, you're like, oh, what can I get you a drink? Do you have Pepsi? Is Coke okay? No, no. What else you got besides the big ones? And I think that's why usually when I went to a restaurant, I would always order sort of like adjacent. So I'd be like, I'd get like a root beer or like a Dr. Pepper or a Sprite or sometimes a lemonade. And nowadays it's just, I'll just have water. Because I have found that depending on where you go, their carbonated water versus syrup blend varies so much that you're going to have either like, oh God, it sticks like I'm drinking peanut butter. Or is there anything in here? But it always seems like if you go to the adjacent list, you never have that problem. Like root beer is root beer, lemonade is lemonade. Um, Although it's interesting because you'll either have pink lemonade and nothing else, or you'll have regular ass lemonade and nothing else. And like even sometimes, depending on where you go, Sprite can be messed up. I've gone to Burger King numerous times and I've gotten a Sprite. I'm going, oh, this is horrible, and I'll dump it out before I leave the parking lot. It's like this is gross, and but I'm going, I don't really care. I just don't want to spend extra by getting just a burger and fries than if I just got the damn meal to begin with. And so I never understood why you're advertising for people to keep going and getting what they, I'm like, they're already gonna still go and get exactly what they've always gotten. That's just all there is to it. So why are you wasting? And yes, you are wasting money reminding people to go get their stuff. Now, if you do like what Taco Bell did for a while, where they had the Baja Blast, and everyone kept going to Taco Bell because that's where you go to get Mountain Dew Baja Blast, and it's a good flavor. I'm completely okay with it. But people kept saying, "Why can't we get Baja Blast elsewhere?" And I would be willing to bet you, and I haven't looked at the figures for it because I'm not that curious in that, and I don't really know how or care that much. That as soon as Mountain Dew had Baja Blast not be exclusively at Taco Bell, I bet you their sales dipped. Like if they were riding here, they probably dipped to here, and they can't get back up to that spot again. But speaking of Taco Bell, I will say that it is by far one of my more favorited places to go and get something to eat because they had that little touchscreen thing that I can order exactly how I want it. So I can get my crunchy tacos with light lettuce or go easy on the lettuce. I can do a little bit more on the cheese. Or I can get what you used to always advertise in the menu, but now you don't, unless you go inside and you can figure out how to maneuver with it. You can get a steak quesadilla rather than a chicken quesadilla only. And I'm just going that's fantastic. And I remember I asked a couple of employees whenever I got in, I said, "Has anyone ever complained? You know, like what's the overall vibe for, doing the little kiosk thing?" They go, "You'd be surprised how many people complain that they just want to go up there, word vomit out their order, and then go sit down and wait for their name to be called." And I'm going, "Why? Because you can get it exactly how you want it. And you don't have to sit there and make a whole big deal out of it." They just go, "Oh, easy on the lettuce. La la. There, that's it." Instead of, "Here's a half a head of lettuce on your one taco." I'm going, that makes no sense to me. Being able to do it, and I'm wanting to bet that eventually what's going to end up happening is there's going to be no more people talking to you at the drive-through. That eventually it's just going to be one of them at the drive-through, and you just punch your order in, pull up in line. That way, all those people do is they just they don't have anyone wasting their time trying to talk to you or tell you what they have, what they don't have. The if you can order it, it's there. If you can't, it's gone. Uh, I would love to see that just kind of be a thing. Like when you go to rallies or checkers and you pull up, "Hi, my name is Cassie. Would you like to try a Big Buford combo today?" And if you sit there and you be silent, it'll take a few extra seconds before someone acknowledges and tells you. But if you actually go, "No, I'm good," it's almost instantaneously after that. It's like, what can I get for you?" And I'm going, but I personally kind of enjoy going through the drive-through because I will kind of talk to people like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" And I know sometimes people are like, "Dude, just order your damn food." But I don't sit there and make a conversation. It's like, "How are you doing today?" "I'm good." I'm like, "I'm good too. I'll take this. Anything else?" "Nah, I'm good." Pew! Just that little itty bitty something just to kind of break the monotony. Um, but yeah, it never quite hit me to where I'm going, you spend in the billions on advertising for something that people already do. So are you advertising to try and persuade Pepsi drinkers to go to Coke? Because that's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Sorry. It's nope. Like people already have, and I think it's more so with Coke and Pepsi than it is anything else, where people have their loyalties, cut down the line, and that's just all there is to it. They're they're like, nope, we're a Coke family, and this is where I think you start having um, new fans of the other side, because you may be curious to go, yeah, but what does Pepsi taste like? I'm gonna try a Pepsi and let's see what that's all about. And they'll go out to eat by themselves, and they'll go to Taco Bell like, let's fill up with a Pepsi, let's see what it's like. And next thing they're like, this is way better. Why were we not doing this? Or vice versa. And then now that becomes the next opposite family. And I never understood why you're advertising something that is always there. I get it if you have a new thing, like Little Caesars has it now to where they're talking about the Mountain Dew Mango Rush. And I'm curious about it because I've tried almost every single flavor of Mountain Dew, and this would be one that I haven't tried yet. And I'm just going, how is it? Is it any decent? And I haven't got one yet, but I probably will at some point. But that type of advertising makes sense, because if you're coming out with a new flavor of something, how are you going to let people know that you have it? Although Little Caesars does well for themselves, because you can get 2 pizzas and it's right around $20. Where you go to Papa John's or Pizza Hut and one pizza is damn near $20. And you can even get, and that for me is like the stuffed stuffed pretzel crust. Here we go. I can talk. And with the whole pretzel crust thing, it's $10. It's pepperoni, cheese, a little bit of salt, pretzel, and you're done. I'm like, I'll pay $10 for that. That's a perfectly reasonable. I'm all right with that. But you can get the cheaper ones where there's like $6 each, so you can get 2 pizzas for less than 15. You can't get that anywhere else. Oh, you can get mediums. Yeah, you can get mediums. And Little Caesars has regular pizzas and personals. That's it. When you have personals, smalls, mediums, larges, extra larges, most families want to get like the bigger one that they can because it's just easier and should be cheaper. But nope, not this way. Not how we're running it. That's so, like, for me, Little Caesars is above everybody else right now. Just because it's a completely different monster and it's cheaper. And that's what McDonald's was supposed to be for the longest time. And I remember people had been going through, on at least through my TikTok stuff, and they were talking about how McDonald's is crying because they're losing all this money, and people are going, because it's too expensive. You used to be the bastion for the struggle. Like, if you were struggling, you could go to McDonald's and get something to eat, and you'd be fine with it because there was enough of a variety on McDonald's that you could essentially have, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and get something completely different, to where you're not going to burn yourself out in 2 days because it's the exact same thing you're ordering over and over again. Unless you're that dude that has consumed over 38,000 Big Macs, and I'm going, have one for me, buddy, because I never have and I probably never will. Because that's too much bread and too much playing around. But when you have the companies that are trying to overinflate their prices just so that the top end can make more, and I'm going, well, then your bottom line is what you're screwing over. And if you're a bastion for those that are struggling, you're going to make up for it because you're going to have people in lines waiting. The Little Caesars closest to where I am will probably never go out of business. I have never not seen anybody in there unless it's closed. There are people that park out front in the fire lanes that go get their shit. That's how it is. Those types of people irritate me, but that that's how popular that place is because it is a bastion for struggles, and there needs to be like if Burger King were all of a sudden just to start dropping their prices and advertise, something along the lines of we'll have your back. And be like, if you become the bastion for those that struggle, you will survive more than the others. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that there's more people struggling than there are that aren't, because those that aren't are not the ones that are buying your stuff. Think about that for a moment. If they're buying your stuff, they have children under the age of 15. That's literally how that goes. And I've never been able to understand just over conflating the prices to that level. It just never made sense to me. Like I remember when I was a kid, used to be able to get soft or crunchy tacos from Taco Bell for about 50 cents. And then it went up to 80 cents. Now it's almost $2. So when people start realizing that if I really want your shells, I can go to the grocery store and get your shells. Sure, I can't make your meat the exact same way, but I can make it the way that I like it and then do it all up the way that I like it. And then now I have your tacos at home. So why would I ever go back to your restaurant again when all I'm going to buy is just the shells? And that's just if you like, crunchy tacos. You can get tortillas that last you freaking pretty much near infinite. And you can do a roll up, you can do a burrito, you can do a soft taco, like you can do all kinds of stuff, and everything's just perfectly fine. And because you outprice your restaurants, then people will just find other ways, or they'll find another company. And like if you take your advertising down, that's how you can save on costs. And like, well, if you don't advertise, and I get it, if you're a company that no one's ever heard of, but everyone's heard of McDonald's and everyone's heard of Taco Bell. So what are you spending? And everyone's heard of Coke and Pepsi. So what are you spending all this extra money on? To remind people to keep getting their stuff? Like if there's a new flavor, sure, I absolutely get it. But maybe it's because I'm not a target audience for anything, because for the most part, I am completely immune to advertising, because I'm going, like when Little Caesars was like, we got our pretzel pizzas back. I'm like, and now I'm going back, because I wanted them things for the longest time. And regular Little Caesars pizza isn't bad, but you got to get it right out of the oven. You have 15 minutes tops before that pizza just starts to just dip and just become not that great anymore. I'm of the mindset that it has a half an hour shelf life. After that, it's garbage. It's yeah, it has to still be like piping hot. You take a bite, you're like, roof of my mouth. It has to be. Otherwise, it's no. And I've often entertained the thought of, companies would be pissed if everybody thought like I did. To where I'm going, I'm just gonna go where I like. I don't care what you're advertising. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. There's times where I'll pull up and go, oh, you guys got this stuff. But like I had a girl just the other day ask, what's your favorite spicy food? I said, my chicken. She's like, I'm sorry? Like, my chicken. That's my favorite spicy thing. And at that point, she was flirting and going, so when are you going to make it for me? I was like, I just met you. I was like, I've made it for other people more than I've made it for myself. And just learning on how to do the nuances to it to where it was actually really good. So, yeah, I make it for others more than I make it for myself. She was like, how do you know it's good? I said, because there's never leftovers. But getting off topic and advertising. But yeah, I don't understand the mentality of companies that have a situation where let's spend billions advertising the same old thing. That to me would be, when was the last time you saw a Hershey's Kiss commercial? And I'll tell you, it's around Christmas time. But they still make them. People still get them. That's usually more of something that's a baking ingredient now. But people still get Hershey's Kisses all the time. But you never see commercials for them. Because you don't need to. You know they are there. You know they are part of some type of ingredient for a baked good or something like that. So you know where you can get it. So what difference does it make? You see Snickers advertised all the time. Simpsons did Butterfingers for the longest time, but I haven't seen a Butterfinger advertisement since. When was the last time you saw an advertisement for a Mr. Goodbar or 100 grand? Mounds and Almond Joy kind of had their commercials where they kept advertising both of them. But, I mean, it's coconut flavored, so it's to begin with. But the point is that you have companies that just don't advertise because they are usually found at the impulse aisle whenever you're checking out in a grocery store. You're going to walk past it, and it's going to hit you like, ooh, let's grab a Hershey bar, or ooh, let's grab a Kit Kat, and off you go. I mean, I think Snickers and Reese's are probably the two that I can recall that have the most ads that I've seen. Then again, I'm probably a pretty poor judge of it because I don't watch a lot of live TV unless it's Mondays and Fridays. But like they had the ginger ale fruit splash, and I went, well, ginger ale's good. I like ginger ale, but now that you've added some other flavor to it, I am curious. And it was the next time that I saw the commercial that one of those things was in my hand. And then going over to a friend's house, and they're buying 12 packs all the time. So I'm going, all right, see, this is what I'm talking about. You come out with a new flavor, and then you're going to have people coming back for it, especially if they enjoy it. But if it's just, we're advertising ginger ale, and people are going, I'm not sick. Because to me, ginger ale was mostly a like medicinal purpose type thing. and you're just going, nah, I'm all right. But then other times you're going, ginger ale, like an ice cold ginger ale's absolutely amazing. Ice cold anything is pretty much amazing. um, Good Lord. Excuse me. um, but just advertising things that are always there. Like some of my favorite commercials of all time was the one where oh god, I can always see his face, but I can hardly ever pull up his freaking name in my head. It was when the dude was doing 7-Up commercials, and he was like, "Make 7-Up yours." And I actually bought one of the shirts that says "Make 7," and on the back it says "Up yours." I'm going, that was beautiful. It was fantastic. It was right in line with my humor. And I did 7-Up for a while as long as those commercials were going. And then once those commercials stopped, I kind of stopped with 7-Up unless I was sick. But I just went, that was brilliant. It was fun. It was sort of adult and edgy and different. And I went, all right. But now commercials are just getting ridiculous to where you'll see someone aerating their lawn and adding in some weed and seed and spraying or having the sprinkler go and try and get the seed to take root and things like that. And then it's going, hungry for a burger? Like, wait, what? Like, what just happened? It's getting kind of ridiculous, and so like a lot of companies, I'll just flat out refuse just because I see their commercials. Because I think I've gotten to the age where unless it's ooh that's new, I'll try it. I already like what I like, and I'm gonna stick with what I like. And if I'm gonna venture from that, it's gonna be something that I try to make. That it's my concoction. Beyond that, I'm going, no, you're not gonna get me. Um, that's just it's not gonna happen. And uh, that goes back to like where I said it doesn't make any sense to me. Because I know you're not immune to influence, and you're not immune to propaganda, but I am fairly headstrong, and the vast majority of the time, you're not going to get me with your ads for anything. You have tax season come around. I may go try a couple of companies, but there's one specific way that I've been doing my taxes the entire time. And the only reason why I didn't do my taxes with them this year is simply because, uh, for whatever reason, the idiots decided let's do a whole website upgrade during tax season. Like, who approved that? So you lost your entire purpose during the time frame that you should be active the most. That's like saying, nah, let's just not have a TV when it comes to the World Cup or the Super Bowl. Granted, I don't watch either of them, but still, there's enough people that do that. It's like, yeah, we're just not gonna broadcast it. So I didn't go with them this year, but I'll probably go back because they have all the lists of my things for all the years that I've done. So like that's where I go. Um but yeah, that was just my kind of quick-ish, short-ish rant on advertising and how none of that crap really makes sense to me unless you're advertising something new. Like, why are you still advertising? Like, hey, we're here. Right. We go grocery shopping. We see it. Or it's on the sides of our Amazon web pages and while we're shopping there and or you just pull anything up and there's 10,000 ads on it to where it's like, here, we got this stuff right. I know. I'm not looking for any of that right now. Go away. So, but yeah. What is something that you outright refused to buy from an ad you watched? Or has there ever been an ad that you've watched that has turned you away from a product just because it was a bad advertisement? I'm just curious. But y'all have a great one. See you soon.